All right, what's up, everybody? So we're gonna quickly be going over this brand new community update, number 9. Um, Gaijin just put this out, probably like 10, 20 minutes ago, and I read through this briefly, and I noticed some key points here. So as a veteran player, I wanted to talk about some of the stuff in here because some of this is pretty crazy. So I'm going to quickly go over by reading through everything that's in the update, and then talk about it a little bit once we're done. Starting off with news, community update number 9. It's the end of the year. Hi everyone. Dive into our 9th community update article in which we reveal some of the upcoming changes and additions coming to War Thunder in the near future. Buckle up and read along. Disclaimer: while we're excited to be able to share work in progress information before devlogs, the dev server in full release, please bear in mind that the new features, vehicles, and maps mentioned in this news are subject to change, be delayed, or even cancelled. War Thunder is constantly being developed, and as well with all game development, unexpected delays or other unforeseen circumstances may occur. Thank you for your interest. So we're starting off with returning decal codes. We're temporarily returning last year's free decal codes. If you just joined the game this year and missed them, now you'll have the chance to pick them up. Simply enter No Secret inside, as well as the Nigel was here. This is just so you can click on the link. It'll bring you to the login page. You log in, you type in the code, and you get these decals for in-game. Says the decal codes will remain active for publish date of the news until December 11th. So here we go, starting into the actual meat and potatoes of this update. Testing new matchmaking to avoid repeat maps. Anyone who has played War Thunder knows how bad it can be sometimes to get the same map over and over and over and over again, especially when it'll be back to back to back and you get one random map and then it goes back to back to back and then just one random map, so on and so forth. Everybody kind of understands how frustrating that can really be. I, for one, it really bugs me. If it's a map I like, obviously it's going to be great, but 80% of the time, it's like, why? Why do I have the same map for the millionth time? So this is pretty insane. For most players, it can be a bit tedious to get the same map twice in a row, especially if it's a map that doesn't align with your playstyle or one that you don't have the most suitable lineup for. Due to this, over the last few weeks, we've been testing a new matchmaking system that will drastically reduce the likelihood of getting the same map twice in a row. When selecting a map for a battle, the matchmaker now takes into account the map history of all players in the queue. It sees the map that each player previously played on and will reduce the chance of selecting that map again for the upcoming battle. So it's going to look at everybody's previous games and recognize, okay, this is a map that we shouldn't recommend into the queue. We've been testing this for around 3 weeks on live servers and have been gathering data in the meantime. Based on the matchmaking results and the data we've collected, the numbers of players experiencing a repeat map has dropped by orders of magnitude across the board, by more than 10 times. That just goes to show how often people get back-to-back maps, at least back-to-back. By more than 10 times. That is insane, dude. That's nuts. While the system is working effectively, it's not perfect. Please be aware that depending on the active map bans, dislikes, just a reminder that the top 2 most disliked maps from the players in the queue will be excluded, which is also pretty cool. And the overall map pool available in any particular queue, there will be instances where some players will get the same map twice. However, the chance of this happening should be significantly reduced compared to how it was previously. So let us know how your battles have gone and if you've noticed a difference. it's pretty crazy because now that I think about it, I really haven't had many repeat games. Huh. That's pretty cool. So that's clearly working. This is pretty huge information. It's going to get rid of the great, this map again kind of thing. Obviously, like it said, it's still going to have the small chance of getting into that same map, but it's been greatly reduced. Like they said here, 10 times. That is just incredible. What else we got? This is where I read the first paragraph and I immediately went to go record this so I could put it up. The December major update. It's time to take a look at what's coming in the final major update of 2025. Changes to Ground Arcade and Realistic Battle lineups. In Ground Arcade and Realistic Battles, lineups are a vital contributor to the outcome of any given battle. However, not every player will have a full lineup available to them. Some may only have a single premium tank, or may have rushed down the tree to unlock a certain vehicle while neglecting other branches, resulting in a fairly unbalanced lineup that lacks versatility. Listen, I understand why people do it, but my God, as someone who's been playing the game for the last 12 years, especially in the last 5 or 6 years, it's been really bad with the one death levers. As soon as you kill them one time, they're gone. And you hover over there, especially now that you can hover over people's names in the looking at the teams, it'll show their lineups, and it's just one tank, and it's either a premium tank or some random tank. It just bothers me to no end because I don't care if it's going to be a landslide loss. Usually I can tell within the first 2 to 5 minutes if we're going to win or lose. I stick it out because I want to get as many kills and stuff as I can, But it's just so annoying, dude, to have like 25, 30% of your team just insta leave in the first 47 seconds. It's so annoying, dude. Anyway, with this in mind, we've decided to implement a new feature to help. We'll be adding a random ground vehicle spawn option in Ground Arcade and Ground Realistic Battles in lineups of 9.3 and above. This will work similarly to the aircraft spawns for naval battles. Okay, so I know I'm talking to like the 3 other naval players alongside myself. When you play naval, depending on once you reach a certain amount of points, you can spawn in a vehicle. So I assume this is how this is going to work. This will work similarly to the aircraft spawns for naval battles, where you have the option to spawn a random fighter or bomber. So like I was saying, I don't know if it'll be, I get the feeling it probably will be. You're going to have to get, I don't think they're going to give it out completely for free. It'd be pretty crazy if they did, but I think you're going to have to get some sort of points. It's not going to be a whole lot, but you have to get something in order to spawn in a vehicle. So in naval, it's 650 spawn points, and it will give you a random fighter or bomber. Right? So that's how that works. They're taking the same idea and giving it to Ground Realistic, which is just absolutely mind-boggling. Like, it has been the top of my wish list for Gaijin to fix the problem with one death levers. It bothers me to no end. Like I said, to have 25, 30, 35% of your team gone in the first minute of the game is just ridiculous. So the fact that they're even giving people a free vehicle is just nuts. Well, not a free vehicle, but it's going to be a vehicle you get to use for that match. Anyway, we'll continue on with what it says here. For Ground Realistic Battles, there will be 2 options, a random spawn for tanks and another for SPAAs, while Ground Arcade Battles will just have a tank option. Oh, so that's something I must have overlooked when I glanced through it the first time. So it looks like they're going to have, I guess, again, just like naval, where you have the fighter and then you have the bomber, they're going to have tank and then SPAA. which is pretty cool, actually. Now that I think about it, I don't know how that's going to work. Like, is that going to get rid of the need to research? Well, not get rid of the need to research anti-air, but because it says at minimum it's going to be 9.3 and above before you get any of this stuff going on. So does that mean you're going to get, like, does it cancel out the need to research SPA-A from 9.3 onwards? Or I wonder how that's going to work. Again, I assume it's probably going to be a not ideal SPA-A. It's going to be worse off than if you had researched it through the tech tree, but it's still going to be from in and around that BR bracket, which is going to be pretty huge. So coming down here, the available vehicle selection depends on the nation and battle rating of the battle, but the options won't be the top BR in any given scenario, which I am totally happy about. As much as I want people to be able to come back into, like, to stay within the game, obviously I don't want them to just have a top tier or like a top BR bracket vehicle as their backup without working for it at all, you know? So this is pretty cool. Totally fine with them doing that. As an example, in a 9.7 to 10.7 match, if you have a battle rating of 10.7, the random vehicle options will be between 9.7 and 10.3. So it'll be the lowest BR of the BR bracket for the match, and then 0.3 or 0.4 below the top tier of the bracket. Okay, that makes sense. While if you have a battle rating of 9.7, the options will be between 9.3 and 10.0. The logic will apply universally across the board where possible. In cases where there is a limited number of vehicles available, the roster will include vehicles of lower BRs just to make sure there are enough options. Okay, so for some of the nations, I guess this would be like for Japan, for example, where there's not a huge amount of vehicles at certain BR brackets. They're going to pick vehicles as well from below the BR bracket to ensure that there is still something to flesh out to this new roster of vehicles. In addition to this, we've also applied the same logic above to the random aircraft spawns in naval battles. The list of available aircraft has been drastically expanded. Again, to the other 5 naval players, this is huge. I'm very happy about that because some of them stink when you work hard to get an extra spawn, and it gives you some random fighter that is totally useless against heavy cruisers and battleships. For both bombers and fighters. Okay, sweet. We actually get some sort of versatility now instead of getting the same 3 things, regardless of battle rating. We hope that this new feature combined with the free daily backups will give everyone more ability to stay in each match for longer and keep fighting until the very end. It seems like Gaijin really listened to the player base, or at least most of the player base. Or even, I don't know, I don't really stay up to date with this kind of thing, so I don't know if I'm in the minority of people who really hate people who won Death Leave or what, but I, for one, am super happy that they are fixing this. This is huge. Naval improvements. We also have a couple of nice additions for the naval that we'd like to tell you about as well. We have some more naval features planned for this update, but they're not quite finalized yet. So we'll tell you about 2 that we already have locked in. Refining rewards and how damage is calculated. Vessels in War Thunder have effectively 2 types of damage mechanics: the durability of each section of the ship and the percentage of crew. Previously, damage and therefore rewards was calculated based on how much damage was caused to sections of the ship that contained crew and not explicitly tied to the crew itself. This could lead to situations where a player has depleted 80% of the ship's crew, but has only caused 15% of the damage, which would lead to only 15% of the reward, SLRP mission score, award damage. This is why you may have noticed that destroying coastal vessels provided much more damage points on the scoreboard, because of the difference in their damage model. I guess that makes sense. If you hit a little torpedo boat with a 380 millimeter full caliber HE, and it just vaporizes it off the face of the planet, it basically one-shots it, right? So it's going to count all sections are totally destroyed, and that's why you get more, which makes a lot of sense, especially when you compare it to something like the 6.0 US line, where you rely a lot on your high explosive to knock out crew. That's going to be pretty big. This is going to be a pretty big change. This could lead to situations where a player has depleted 80% of the ship's crew, but only caused... Wait, I already read that, didn't I? In the next update, damage and all of the associated rewards will be tied completely to crew, and not the sections of the damage model that contain crew. This should make the process of damage and getting rewards much clearer, as a crew is more tangible and convenient source of survivability. This change will mean that you'll regularly get much higher damage score when fighting large ships, and higher rewards too, which is, again, as I said, it's going to be pretty big. I'm very happy to see that as well. Severe damage system. Exactly as the title says, we'll be adding a severe damage mechanic to naval. It will be similar in function to the mechanic for aircraft that we have in the game already. For naval specifically, you'll be granted a severe damage credit by causing 50% crew depletion to a ship. Oh! So you get partial rewards for knocking it down halfway. This is acceptable. I will happily take this. Thank you. This will give you 50% of the kill reward the moment you receive the credit for severe damage. This is also very nice because a lot of the times, and again, speaking to the naval players, you know how annoying it can be when you knock a ship down, you knock out all of its guns, it's on fire, it's listing, it's about to go under, and then some random destroyer, especially the AI, will fire one tiny little bullet out the window of their ship. It will scratch the paint of the battleship you've been engaging, and it dies, and it counts towards their kill. So at least this way you can kind of guarantee 50% of the reward right off the rip. This is great. If you don't land the finishing blow, you'll still get the kill credit, which will be shared with the player who landed the final hit. So, kind of like aerialistic. It's going to be... There's not going to be any more kill stealing, which totally fine with. Been wanting that change for a long time too. This whole update feels very catered to the people who've been kind of bugging War Thunder about these issues for months at least, years even. So I'm very happy that they're finally fixing a lot of these things. I feel like it's going to improve the game pretty big. Heavy Damage Battle Award. When engaging large vessels like cruisers and battleships, they can sometimes take quite a long time to take down. This is fair enough, of course. They're tough nuts to crack, after all. But it does mean that it'll often be quite a while before you get that satisfying target destroyed message. Because of this, we'll be adding a new battle award. It'll be named something like Heavy Damage and will be awarded for causing 30% crew depletion on large vessels, cruisers, and battleships. The aim of the new medal is to give you an extra reward while you steadily bring down the enemy ships, and ideally give you a motivation boost to keep those shells raining down. So this is nice to have. Anything to give you that extra bit of RP and SL is obviously gladly accepted. Next, we're coming down to vehicles. Moving on from the naval improvements, now to the vehicles coming. The December update will feature a heap of interesting vehicles for all nations. We'll save the real headliners for the trailer and the upcoming dev server, but we might as well drop a few hints while we're here. We're planning a handful of advanced SAM systems for several nations in the next update. We'll be adding a few, but we think you'll especially like the two we have planned for Japan and Sweden, which is great. They both were really lacking. This is going to be nice. We also have some very interesting light vehicles in the works. Oh God, I really hope they're not wheeled light vehicles with stabilizer and APFSDS. We have so many of those. Give us World War II tanks, bro. There's so many interesting World War II tanks that they could add. We'll have a nice mix of famous and obscure naval editions as well, I guess. There's a typo. With each nation with naval getting something. There's a lot of big names you'll recognize, Regal and States, and a few rarer vessels too. Also on the cards is a highly unusual experimental bomber. It'll have a rather special playstyle, but we won't say much more. Interesting. There's a lot to expect on aviation front in general for the next update. You won't have to wait too long to see what we've got in store. New detailed cockpits. Anytime they come out with this stuff, I am thrilled. I used to play a lot of War Thunder Sim, and I played it because I liked how the cockpits looked. So the fact that they're going to be adding new detailed cockpits, always happy to see that. All right, we have to show something. We'd love to share some progress on some bomber cockpits we've been working on. Next update, the B-25 series will all receive detailed cockpits. This edition will be the first of many detailed cockpits that we'll be adding for older aircraft that are missing them. It may be a small thing in the wider scope of the game, but it's often the detail that makes War Thunder special. That's exactly what I was just saying. That's why I got into War Thunder Sim to begin with. So expect more bombers to receive detailed cockpits in the future. In the meantime, check out the work in progress on the B-25. The textures are still being worked on, but from these screenshots you can see the amount of detail this cockpit will have. Beautiful. Absolutely fantastic. Way better. How it looks right now, minus all this stuff, how this dash looks is what it looks like in game right this moment as of recording. So to see you're getting all these new throttle quadrants, you're getting these switches and knobs and stuff, you're getting all the correct dials and everything. This is great. I'm very happy to see this. Look at this. That is fantastic. Look at the level of detail. This is awesome. Guys, we're finally getting detailed bomber cockpits. It's only been 12 years. No, I'm kidding. This is and obviously it takes a lot of time to get these things right, which I think they should get some of the community to help them with. I think that would be pretty cool. A lot of them have some free time and know how to do this stuff. So I don't know if they do that or not, but it would be nice to help speed up the process of getting all the rest of the cockpit placeholders removed for beautiful bomber cockpits and other aircraft cockpits like this. Okay, the end of year winter event. We're coming up to the end of the year now, which means it'll soon be time for a big winter event featuring 4 vehicles instead of 1. Keep an eye out for what's coming for this event. Before that, though, we'll have a dedicated naval event for a Soviet boat. Okay, so if we're getting a Soviet ship sometime in the very foreseeable future, sometime in early December, it's going to be, I'd probably give another 2 weeks then. At least. So I'm expecting to see something about the winter event sometime between the week of the 15th of December or the week of the 22nd of December. That's my guess as to when that's going to start up. Probably the earlier of the two. Bullet Hell Reflections. We're very happy to see how everyone enjoyed the Bullet Hell event. A lot of us took part too. It was an interesting change of pace for sure. There are a few tweaks we'd like to make to the mode in general, but overall we're very happy to see how well it was received. So expect to see it again in some form in the future. In the meantime, we'll keep working on developing similar experimental modes too. I am happy with that too. Again, like I think I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this, I've been playing War Thunder for 12 years, I think. It's been something close to 12 years as of recording. But having the same game mode with tiny variations, it kind of gets boring after a while. So to see new game modes even being talked about and like teased and having their new like the weekend events and stuff is pretty cool. I'm very happy to see that. I liked the incursion one, even if it was a little bit broken. Seeing the bullet hell, it actually gives you some ability to dogfight and stuff now. Like you don't have to look over your shoulder for a Fox 3 coming in at Mach 15, slam you out of the sky. You actually get to dogfight, which is what the game was originally built around. It was all gunfighters. So getting these guys to be gunfighters too is pretty cool. Very happy about that. Coming soon, video Q&A with War Thunder game director Vyshalev Belanikov. Probably butchered that. Apologies. But anyway, we've got a video Q&A coming soon on our YouTube channel with many interesting questions answered. Keep an eye on our YouTube channel. I'll link the War Thunder YouTube channel in the description. Thank you. Well, that's the last community update post from us this year. It goes fast, doesn't it? From the entire War Thunder team, thank you for a great 2025. Thank you for reading these posts and leaving your thoughts throughout the year. We always appreciate it. All of us here are hard at work on the final major update, and next year, after a little bit of R&R, we'll see you again for more updates on what we're working on. We hope you all have a fantastic holiday season. Wrap up warm, apart from those of you in Australia. The brawly up and the tinny out. God. And we'll see you in 2026. And then War Thunder Community Update Pack. Top secret profile or avatar frame. Top secret decal. Top secret title. 300 GE for $4. That's actually not too bad. You get all those. I don't think I have that actually. I might pick that up myself. But yeah, no, this update is, even if it's going to be on the smaller side, because the second update it usually is, this is some pretty serious stuff. We're gonna help fight the end of back-to-back games where you get put in the same map for 15,000 times in a row. We're getting rid of, I hope, the one death leavers. Please, God, don't leave the game if you die one time, I beg. It sucks for everybody who stays, because then we have to pick up the slack, and it's just an automatic 2v1. Or 2-to-1. Looking at the rest of the stuff here, though, this is pretty cool. This is probably one of the biggest changes I've seen, like fundamental gameplay changes I've seen since volumetric. Like this is pretty big. Actually, I would say this is much bigger than when they changed that. This is probably like the first time they've done something this out there that I can remember. So it's pretty cool to see this coming out. But yeah, guys, I think we've covered everything. We talked about a little bit of everything. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. If you found this helpful or you thought this was interesting or whatever, consider leaving a follow. I'm often live on Twitch with the same handle. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good day or night, wherever you're from. Thank you for listening to this. I will see you guys in the next one. Hopefully, we'll be putting out some more long-form content in the foreseeable future, especially with the winter holidays coming up. I'm going to be off for a couple weeks. So I'm going to try and pump out some long-form videos for the first time. Otherwise, it's just the usual shorts and TikToks. But we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys for that. Until then, peace out.